back with another update. In this episode, I'll cover the Russia-Ukraine conflict, drug cartels, illegal immigration-related news, anti-ICE activity, and the Rose Garden Club Luncheon. Of course, I'll end with the noteworthy tidbits. The Wall Street Journal reported that the United States approved Ukraine to use long-range missiles against Russia, but President Trump called this report fake news, saying the U.S. has nothing to do with those missiles, where they came from, or what Ukraine chooses to do with them. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent placed massive sanctions on Russian oil companies, explaining, "Now is the time to stop the killing and for an immediate ceasefire." Given President Putin's refusal to end this senseless war, Treasury is sanctioning Russia's two largest oil companies that fund the Kremlin's war machine. Treasury is prepared to take further action if necessary to support President Trump's effort to end yet another war. We encourage our allies to join us in and adhere to these sanctions. So far, there still have been no major breakthroughs in ending the war. On to the topic of drug cartels. President Trump and War Secretary Pete Hegseth carried out another lethal kinetic strike on a vessel operated by a designated terrorist organization, and Trump announced he is fully prepared to carry out military strikes against cartels who come into the U.S. by land as well. Secretary of State Marco Rubio made a point addressed to those concerned about these strikes, saying, "These are drug boats. If people want to stop seeing drug boats blown up, stop sending drugs into the United States." National Intelligence Director Tulsi Gabbard revealed her office is actively targeting cartel members who are trying to kill Americans, saying, "This is happening on multiple fronts. We have our counterterrorism teams who are working very hard, both in the United States and across the border, working to share actionable intelligence with our U.S. law enforcement agencies, as well as Mexico's law enforcement elements, and successfully going after and capturing people like this Sinaloa cartel boss, El Pato, and his money launderers." Let's switch to illegal immigration-related news. President Trump is set to break the U.S. deportation record by the end of 2025, with more than 515,000 deported and 1.6 million leaving on their own. Walmart paused job offers to people who need H-1B visas for employment due to the new $100,000 visa fee, and the Trump administration issued $9.6 billion in fines to illegal aliens who have not self-deported. According to Breitbart, over 31,600 fine notices have been sent to illegal aliens. President Trump called on the U.S. Senate to finally pass Kate's Law, which mandates a 10-year prison sentence for illegals who come back into the United States after deportation. Kate's Law was named in honor of Kate Steinle, who was killed by an illegal alien. A semi-truck driver in California caused a horrible crash, resulting in several deaths. The driver, an illegal alien from India, whose last name is Singh, is suspected of DUI and appeared to not attempt to use his brakes at all before the accident. This driver has the same last name as the other illegal alien semi-truck driver who caused the deadly accident in Florida and who also obtained his CDL in California. As a result, conservatives are demanding an immediate investigation into California for breaking CDL standards. A U.S. Marshal was shot during a Los Angeles immigration enforcement operation, and federal vehicles were rammed as the illegal tried to escape. The illegal was shot in the process, and luckily, neither of the injuries are life-threatening. Over 100 federal agents are en route to San Francisco for a major immigration enforcement operation, according to the San Francisco Chronicle, and the Department of Homeland Security has successfully banned all immigration judges from giving illegal aliens bond. This will ensure the illegals can't flee to avoid deportation. Federal agents conducted raids in New York City, resulting in 9 African illegals being detained, including one from Mali who has a criminal record for assault, recklessly endangering, counterfeiting, unauthorized use of a motor vehicle, criminal sale of narcotics, possessing a controlled substance, possession of marijuana for sale, making false reports to law enforcement, and resisting arrest. This is also the same person who attacked journalist Nick Shirley in a confrontation where the illegal screams at Shirley, claiming that dealing drugs is how they eat. ICE Director Todd Lyons said there will be an increase in ICE arrests in New York because so many criminal illegal aliens were released there. This provides the perfect segue to the next topic, anti-ICE activity. Anti-ICE protests erupted primarily in New York City following a high-profile federal raid in Manhattan's Chinatown. The operation targeted street vendors allegedly selling counterfeit goods, leading to dozens of arrests, including undocumented immigrants and at least 4 U.S. citizens who were detained for nearly 24 hours. Protests quickly escalated into clashes with law enforcement, with reports of violence, arrest, and chaos described by some media as resembling a war zone. In the afternoon of October 21st, federal agents conducted a joint raid on street vendors for counterfeit goods, resulting in dozens of arrests. Protesters gathered immediately, blocking vehicles and shouting obscenities. By the evening, crowds swelled to the hundreds outside the Immigration Court and Holding Center as detained individuals were processed. Protesters clashed with police, and videos show officers detaining resistors. One woman was seen pushing officers, and minor scuffles were reported to have occurred later that night. The next day, on October 22nd, hundreds rallied at emergency action called by groups like the People's Forum, and at that time everything was peaceful but tense. Protests peak with over 500 participants, and there were arrests for resisting, with one man filmed harassing bystanders and then being arrested. New York Attorney General Letitia James launched the Federal Action Reporting Portal for residents to submit ICE footage. Similar protests occurred in Portland and Los Angeles. Shifting to the Rose Garden Club Luncheon. President Trump hosted a Rose Garden Club Luncheon in the newly renovated White House Rose Garden for nearly all Republican senators. 52 out of 53 attended, with Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky notably absent, reportedly uninvited due to his frequent opposition to GOP priorities. The event, held on day 21 of the ongoing partial government shutdown, the second longest in U.S. history, served as a show of party unity amid stalled budget negotiations. Democrats have blocked GOP funding bills demanding protections for Affordable Care Act subsidies, while Republicans accuse them of causing the impasse. The lunch featured casual fare like cheeseburgers, fries, and custom Rose Garden chocolates, but Trump's remarks struck a defiant tone, blaming Democrats for the shutdown and urging GOP cohesion. The gathering was lighthearted in atmosphere. Trump mingled, posed for photos, and praised the garden's restoration, crediting First Lady Melania Trump for its overhaul. The gathering was also politically charged, with discussions on breaking the deadlock and advancing Trump's agenda. The event underscored the shutdown's drag, with Trump leveraging it to rally his base. No immediate policy shifts followed, but it set the tone for Senate votes on emergency declarations and appropriations. As of today, the shutdown persists, with talks stalled. Now it's time for the noteworthy tidbits, which are brought to you today by Big Fork Brands. Let me tell you about them quick. Sometimes I get on a roll cleaning or gardening, and I need a boost but don't have time for a meal. Big Fork Brand's pork jerky is the perfect choice to keep my momentum, offering high-protein snacks for on-the-go energy boosts. Not only do they offer pork jerky, but they also make pork sticks, bacon sausage, bacon hot dogs, and burger and hot dog sauces. Products come in a variety of delicious flavors, including Thai green curry and maple and brown sugar for the meat options, and gangster and Chicago fire for the sauces. I personally think the original flavor of the pork jerky hits just right after tackling a big chore. It's a little salty and very flavorful. My discount code gives you 20% off your entire order, and it's currently the best deal available. Just visit bigforkbrands.com and enter in my promo code JADE, that's J-A-D-E, at checkout. All right, let's get back to the tidbits. President Trump endorsed Idaho Governor Brad Little and Congressman Paul Gosar for re-election. North Carolina's new 2026 congressional map removing a Democrat seat and drawing in a red seat has passed through legislature, but Indiana's new congressional map does not have the votes to pass through the Senate. The Senate confirmed more than 175 Trump nominees after changing the Senate rules, including Harold D. Moody III to be U.S. District Judge for the Northern District of Alabama. They also confirmed Ann Lee Moe to be the U.S. District Judge for the Middle District of Florida and William Mercer to be U.S. District Judge for the District of Montana. The Senate advanced the confirmations of Stephen Chad Meredith to be U.S. District Judge for the Eastern District of Kentucky and Bill Lewis to be U.S. District Judge for the Middle District of Alabama. Vice President Vance visited Tel Aviv and reported that the Gaza peace deal is holding up better than he expected. TMZ reported that President Trump may pardon P. Diddy soon, but the White House debunked the rumor, calling it fake news. Federal Housing Director Bill Pulte is donating 100% of his salary to wounded veterans, with donations beginning as of the last pay period. Former CIA Director John Brennan was referred to the Department of Justice for prosecution related to the Russia collusion hoax. In a pathetic statement, Brennan said, "They don't care about doing things like this to destroy individuals, to go after me, to hurt me and my family. I'm sure Trump and many other conservative figures feel your pain there, buddy. What goes around comes around." President Trump became the first sitting president to receive the Richard Nixon's Foundation Architect of Peace Award. 14 people were shot in Chicago over the weekend, killing 4, and as a result, President Trump called for the federal government to be brought in to crack down on crime in the city. President Trump approved disaster funding for several states, including Alaska, who received $25 million to help the state recover from the major typhoon they experienced earlier this month. The state of Missouri received $2.5 million in individual assistance after severe storms, high winds, large hail, flash flooding, and tornadoes. The state of Nebraska received $15 million for recovery efforts from major storms, and the Leech Lake Band of Ojibwe received $260,000 for public assistance. The Democrat Party's approval rating is now at negative 41 points, with 26 of responders approving of the party and 67% disapproving, according to Quinnipiac. John Sununu announced he is running for U.S. Senate in New Hampshire, and Sheriff Mark Lamb formally announced his candidacy for Arizona's 5th Congressional District. That position is currently held by Congressman Andy Biggs, who is running for Arizona governor. Lastly, I will be on vacation for the next few days, but you'll have a nice synopsis of what happened while I was gone out on Monday. Have a great rest of your week.